Hi, welcome to Superhero Rundown. I'm Lady Jess, and this is Rap Critic, and we just saw probably one of the best movies I've seen this year.
I'll just give it away, why don't you?
Well, I mean, so we saw Captain America Civil War. Obviously, I was Team Cap.
And I was Team Black Panther, because it's not even Iron Man anymore, it's Black Panther.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about, like, the movie without spoilers, then we'll mark spoilers, and then we'll talk about spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, as of Tuesday, which is today, your fault. Also, I understand that there are some people who can't see it until next weekend, so when we mark spoilers, feel free to close this video until after you've seen the actual movie. So let's just talk about characterization really quick. Not character arcs, but how all the actors were.
Yeah. And
then also let's talk about like how the plot elements were in terms of like overall, and then we'll get into spoilers and we'll talk you know, spoilers.
All right.
So we'll start with Team Iron Man. Iron Man, of course, played by Robert Downey Jr., was pretty awesome.
Fantastic. He goes through something very different than what happens in Iron Man 2.
Yes, yeah, he does. And I'll talk more about that in spoilers, but when we talk about like themes and things.
So should we just say what the plot is?
Well, yeah, okay. So the non-spoilery plot is basically that because of the results of the previous movies, which if you have not seen the previous movies before watching Cap Civil War, you should probably do so, because this is one of the first movies where you should watch the movies that lead up to this.
You should at least watch Ultron.
You should at least watch Ultron. Yeah. You should probably also watch
in the first Captain America movie.
No, Cap Winter Soldier, because they do bring that up. That's what happened in
Bucky's in the first? That's when he gets manipulated, right?
No, Winter Soldier.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, the second one.
Yeah. So basically, as a result of Cap, and also the first Avengers movie. So basically, with the Avengers movie, the first Avengers movie, you didn't need to see the other movies leading up to that. Like, it was nice if you saw it and you could catch all the cool shit. But if you're just a casual viewer of the MCU, you really didn't need to see all of the movies leading up to that.
Actually, what's interesting about this is that the threads are slowly coming together. Like you said, whereas with the first one, it was like, you can't get the backstory, but they help you out with this.
Yeah.
By this movie, it really is a sort of... And
I have to watch.
And I feel like it could be a sort of like, oh my god, this could end up being so gimmicky like comics have become, where it's like, oh, well, you have to know this and this and this. But the good thing about this is that movies are a lot more accessible than comics. Yes. So it's like, if you don't know, if you haven't seen it, it's not like, oh, well, where the hell am I going to find this comic? With this, it's more like, okay, I know the movie, it could be found here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. So basically,
I think it works. I think it translates to.
I do too.
Yeah.
But basically, as a result of the invasion of New York, the Cap dismantling S.H.I.E.L.D. in DC, and the Sokovian disaster, basically.
We're going to talk about that in a minute.
Of Ultron. Basically, they come up with Thunderbolt Ross is now Secretary of State because reasons, which is fine. I'm cool with that. But he comes to the Avengers compound and basically says, because you did all these things, the rest of the world is kind of saying, you guys are way too unchecked. We need you to not do this anymore.
Well, no, not do it, but we need it to be so that...
be basically under a UN council that decides what's going on.
Actually, I thought it was funny. They basically, if you think about it, they're kind of like Team America World Police up until this point.
Pretty
Where it's just like, they just go wherever, and like, from an outsider perspective, from the, we don't know that these guys are supposed to be the good guys perspective, they really are just like, they're an unchecked American, organization that goes to other countries.
Right, except the fact that they also have, other people on the team who aren't actually American, but whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they come up with these Sokovian Accords, and they basically state that if the Avengers are to continue to operate, they are going to be under the UN jurisdiction, and the UN is going to basically send them where they need to go.
Yeah.
To which Iron Man is game because, Iron Man is kind of responsible for the events of Ultron.
He's totally responsible. I love how they just admit,
Well,
my fault. And I was like, yeah,
well,
actually, you know what?
well-
Robert Downey Jr., maybe you should just stop being a superhero.
Well, no, the thing is it's not just Robert Downey Jr.'s fault.
Yeah, they bring up the thing that happens at the beginning of the movie.
Bruce Banner also helped make Ultron.
And also the fact that he disappeared. And so they're like, well, where's this guy? Thor and Hulk are not here.
Right.
So, Thunderbolt Ross's point is that...
And the reason for Thor not being there is Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And the reason that Banner's not there is literally because he is way aware of how fucking stupid it would be to put the Hulk in the compound when he's still trying to figure shit out.
And so the idea is that he, they've shown to be, irresponsible with these forces, these humongous forces. So that's the
there's
thing
a
that's
line in the movie that's
you
not
need accountability
actually,
is what they're trying to say.
Yeah, there's a line in the movie before, that's not spoilery, that basically says, if I misplace 30 megaton bombs, you bet your ass. And I'm like,
I'd have to answer for it.
First of all, that's a really credible statement for
Hulk. I was like, yeah,
but
we don't know how powerful Thor is. He's got a hammer that can destroy, can control lightning.
Actually, we do know how powerful Thor is. We know that Thor's hammer is as powerful as Captain America's shield because of the fight that happened in the first Avenger movie.
I do find it kind of fascinating that they're the thing that they're concerned with is oh my god, these things are as powerful as megaton bombs. But they don't really seem to consider the fact that, wait a minute, Norse gods exist? They still haven't contemplated that idea.
This is the universe where Captain America literally said, Black Widow said to him in the first movie, you better sit this one out, Cap. They're basically gods. And he's like, yeah, I'm sorry, ma'am. There's only one god, and I'm pretty sure he just dressed like that.
Yeah, but still, I know, and they're trying to be oh, they're more aliens. But still, the point is, these ancient civilizations were praising people who turned out to be pretty accurate to what they were talking about. So that should be raising more questions in this universe, but whatever.
It's probably going to raise more questions in Ragnarok. Remember, this is not Thor and the Hulk's movie.
Yeah. Okay.
So basically, the Sokovian Accords are basically a way to check the Avengers.
Yeah.
Iron Man is all for it, as is War Machine.
Because he's responsible for half of the shit that happened, but whatever.
Well, here's the thing. War Machine.
No, Iron Man, not War Machine.
Well, War Machine signs because he was in the United States Air Force, he has no problem with the government checking his ass. But Cap has an issue with it, and he even brings it up. He's like, okay, what if they send us to somewhere we don't need to go? Or if we need to go somewhere and they say no,
and they won't let us
because what are we supposed to do?
Because of political
biases. Political agendas.
And the thing that makes them good on their own as their own force is that they can do things of their own accord, and it can come from a legitimate place. But the problem is, with that unchecked power comes the idea that, well, none of these nations know when they might go bad, as it were.
Right.
But the thing about it is, we know what happens when, world organizations get to decide who helps who and who doesn't. Then you have, we'll help Europe, but coincidentally, we don't want to help these other countries in Africa as much. Or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's, that sort of bias that they're dealing with.
Right. And part of the reason that this Sokovian Accords even comes about is because at the beginning of the movie, they sort of are find crossbones, and there's a lot of collateral damage, including the quote unquote murder of several Wakandans.
Yeah.
So
quote unquote, they did die.
Well, no, because the media was calling it a murder, but they were really collateral damage. Okay,
we'll talk about that later. So,
but
I want to bring that up though.
But basically, King T'Chaka of Wakanda is basically at this UN meet of the Sokovian Accords, and basically says, we need to have a force of superhumans that are in check. And then he explodes.
And then a bomb goes off.
And a bomb goes
It was
off.
What the hell did you think would happen if they had all of the superheroes in one place where they have enemies?
Well, not the superheroes.
Yeah, but they wanted them to go there. And so obviously, they were you guys all have... The idea was that they were expected to all be there.
So basically...
And then, of course, something happens.
Without the spoilers... Basically, the hunt is on for the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And they, and the rest of the movie is basically hero versus hero. because during the bombing of the UN meet, Captain Steve Rogers is dealing with the fact that Peggy Carter has just died.
Oh yeah.
So he's not there. He's not at the Accords. Blah blah blah. We'll get into the reasons why he's not actually there in the spoilers section. But basically, overall, this plot makes more sense because it takes the previous movies and puts them together. Something that Batman v Superman should learn from.
I was just about to say it. It's like first of all, these motherfuckers actually have ideological differences, and that's the inspiration for it. Yeah, and so it's like...
It's not like, one day Iron Man just woke up and said, you know what, we need to sign these. No, you see his logical character arc throughout multiple movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Same with Captain America, same with Falcon.
So
everybody on this team has... The only two people who don't have, like, an entire arc over multiple movies, really, because they were only in 2... are Vision and Scarlet Witch.
But see, like,
even
I still understand what's happening with them.
Yeah, but even then, you still understand what's going on. Same with Ant-Man. Ant-Man's in the movie.
Okay, so here's the thing. There comes a certain point where they start... I love how they're all kind of recruited differently.
Okay, that's a spoiler. We should...
Really?
Yeah, we should do that.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say, like... okay, so... Like, what I mean is all their motivations make sense.
Yes.
Or if they... Like, not everyone is like, I have a serious ideological difference. Someone is like, hey, we tapped them first. And they have their own thing they're going through. And that's what inspires them to work on the team. Or, in the case of fucking Black Panther...
Yeah.
Fuck Bucky.
well, Black Panther's a different case, but we'll talk about that. So, but the plot makes sense. All the characters are phenomenal.
It doesn't just feel like a Captain America movie. It felt like a mini Avengers movie.
Yeah, it felt like an Avengers movie.
Straight up and down.
Which I'm cool with, because I fucking love the Avengers.
Like, this could have been Avengers 2.5, and I wouldn't have asked any questions.
Yeah, seriously. But I understand why they called it Captain America Civil War. Like, it makes sense the way it happens.
Yeah.
But... overall, so Iron Man was phenomenal. Don Cheadle as War Machine was great.
The action scenes are spectacular.
The effects are fantastic.
Oh,
the costuming, everything. This movie, the pacing was fantastic.
Yeah.
I only had one complaint, and I'll get to that in the spoiler section. It's not very big, but it's like. It's a little bit of a... It's not really a spoiler, but I like, when we talk about the actual plot elements, it's important.
There was such a... So we saw this the opening night.
We saw this Thursday night, and then we saw it Saturday night.
Because we wanted to go with friends, yeah.
Yeah,
there was such a big pop for
Black
Panther. I was like, oh shit!
Well, once again, we live in an area where it's just full of black people. But the thing is that I was very happy because when we went to see it we actually saw it with Leon Thomas of Renegade Cut. We found out that there were some white girls sitting next to us, so I felt really good because.
Oh, for God's sake! And when they went to Queens. Like, so one thing I find a little weird about this movie, I know, like, it's not a big deal, but, like, the captions, they'd, like, take up the whole screen.
Well, I understand.
It's like, why the hell did they do that?
Well, I understand why, because some people who watch these movies, like,
are nearsighted? Like, what?
They're children, and they won't read the bottom of the screen.
But, so they go to Queens, and like literally just the flashing of the word Queens, everyone goes, "Oh shit!"
Well, we all know who's from Queens.
It was just so great. So it was just like, and then when he actually shows up in the suit, everyone's just like, dude, so fucking, they loved it. It was great.
It was fantastic. So, everybody in the cast did a really good job. But I will
especially say, Black Panther. He was a man of few words, and he made them work.
I was very, very, very scared about Black Panther going into this movie because it felt like, without seeing the movie and seeing the trailer, like, the trailer looks great, but I was like, okay, is he just in this just to be in it, or is he actually gonna have a character arc?
His character arc, even though it's smaller than the rest of them, I love how they tie it in.
Yeah.
It's great.
So right now we're gonna mark spoilers because at this point we're gonna start.
Yeah, I mean we're 14 minutes in. You should know by now. You need to see this.
Yeah. So, all right. So first I want to talk about ideological differences.
Okay.
Then we'll talk character arcs. Then we'll talk
plot stuff.
Then we'll talk plot stuff.
That kind of kind of got me a little bit.
Plot wise, like we're gonna talk about ideology a little bit, but basically, so we'll talk about plot first, then we'll do ideology because plot is more important.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of the movie, Lagos in Nigeria is being beat up by the Avengers for collateral damage, basically because
they're trying to fight these guys.
Crossbones, the villain of Captain America, is escaping with a biological weapon from the city of infectious diseases, and unbeknownst to them, there are several Wakandans in this building that they're chasing around, where they're providing relief to Nigeria.
Well, no, the accident, I don't think it was the actual fight at the beginning. I think it was what Scarlet Witch did.
Yeah, it was, so basically, the fight, they find this biological weapon, they should secure it, but then Crossbones tells Captain America, I saw Bucky, and he was like, what? And he goes, yeah, he told me to tell you, when you gotta go, you gotta go. And then Crossbones sets off a bomb.
Like, he self-detonates.
Yeah, he self-detonates. And rather than take Captain America with him, Scarlet Witch takes him with her powers and throws him up into a building by accident because she wasn't able to control it.
Yeah, and the thing is,
it's very clear that she can't control it.
Yeah, you could see that he was slowly still starting to explode. Like, it wasn't, stopped.
Yeah.
And so, she was trying her best, and then she throws him into the building so that, it wouldn't explode everywhere all over the people.
On the ground with a bunch of innocent bystanders. But the trade-off of that is that on the news they report that 11 Wakandans are dead.
Yeah, because the building where she throws them in, there were people still in there.
There were Wakandans in the building when they were, doing relief efforts and stuff. Other people died. They had to get fire and rescue up there.
And so it makes a point. It's sort of, I love how it's a great action scene and how the way it is, because throughout the whole action scene, you can see how they're making a concerted effort to try to just get those guys and keep everyone safe.
They're not trying, the only people they're actually, they're not interacting with other innocent people. They're literally, the only times that they interact is basically to make a perimeter to actually beat the crap out of these bad guys.
But the problem is, it's they did one thing wrong. And it just felt like such a, everything that they did was immediately invalidated. That's what pissed me off. I know what they're trying to do, but it was just really?
Remember, at this point, they even say on the news, Wakanda is a very, very, very isolated place.
Yeah, and so it's the fact that they did that, they
had never really helped other nations before, and then as soon as they go and help somebody, they get killed because the Avengers are running loose without any jurisdiction.
No,
really.
It's I get it, but at the same time, it's seriously? Did you know what was going to happen? And they even make the point about it when they're, when Captain America's talking to Scarlet Witch, but it's do you understand what was going to happen if they didn't do anything? Right. They were literally stealing from the fucking Center for Infectious Diseases. No one even brought that up in the newscast. They were just they killed 10 people, worst people alive. It's but they still saved millions of other people. Fuck this. I understand how news reports happen, and you see that shit on the internet all the time, where it's they'll report something, and then people will only pick up on a certain thing. I get what they mean. It was just fucking frustrating.
Well, it's not about the newscast; it's about the Avengers.
I know, but that informed how the plot sort of went.
No, that's true.
With how Cannonball Ross
acted. So basically, the Scarlet Witch is feeling pretty bad because they're mentioning her by name on the news. They're like, what gives Wanda Maximoff the right to do this? Blah blah blah. And then, they have, then Thunderbolt Ross basically shows up with Tony Stark, because in the interim of this happening, Tony is giving a talk at MIT, and funds all of these kids' projects because, he's like,
okay, now we're going to get into another scene that kind of annoyed me.
But, so leading up to that, he shows a sequence. They show a sequence where he is saying goodbye to his parents for the last time, and his mom and dad are there, and a young Robert Downey Jr. who looks like he was in Chaplin, which
that was really good. The
makeup effect was amazing. Yeah. I don't know if that was CGI. I
think they CGI like a younger kid. But it was seamless.
Yeah,
it was a lot better than in Captain America.
I could not tell that it was another person if it was.
Like my brain was you know how your brain has that cognitive dissonance. It's like, I'm pretty sure he's like a 45-year-old man. How the hell did they make him look that young?
Yeah, he looked like in Chaplin, which I was like, holy shit. But basically, his mother in this sequence comes up to him and says, you better say something because you're not gonna see us again, blah blah blah. And he's like, I love you, and you did the best you could. I know that. And they leave, and then you see, you start seeing flashbacks of what happened to them, but you don't know it's them right now. But basically, Tony Stark is at MIT to give this scholarship from the new foundation that Pepper Potts founded.
Basically being the fucking Bernie Sanders of the Marvel Universe.
But being like billions of dollars richer, which is cool. So he leaves the MIT stage and is confronted by this woman, and she basically tells him that her son was in Sokovia and died.
Yeah.
Because of what happened with the Avengers.
And she's like, you're the worst person ever because my kid died. You're terrible. I don't even care about all the people that you did save.
Right.
And once again, I feel like a dick because, it's like, I understand someone's kid died, but, can you at least acknowledge that they did save people?
Well, it's kind of hard when you're a mother and you're grieving for your kid.
I know. Yeah,
you don't really give a shit about the people that are saved because the first thing you're going to ask is, why couldn't you save my son?
Yeah. And it's a perfect setup for how the rest of the movie goes about avenging. And now that I think about it, it is kind of genius.
Because she even says to him, Mr. Stark, who's going to avenge my son?
Yeah.
And so, he basically kind of at that point makes up his mind that he's going to sign.
Oh my god. That is brilliant. What do you call it? Foreshadowing.
Writing?
No, brilliant foreshadowing.
That's part of the
because
writing.
The villain, I know, but specifically, I thought about that scene and I was like, why the hell does she act? It's like, why do they show this? I understand, but it's like, fuck, dude, seriously, they got to go through all this shit and just because of it. And once again, I'm saying this as the person who knows that they're the good guys, so that's my bias. But then the fact that the main villain is also inspired by a similar sort of thing.
Right.
See, I was thinking of the main villain, who's going to be the big bad guy now?
Well,
but
there's
it's
not really a big bad guy. That's the thing. So anyway,
all right, good. Yeah.
So we're gonna keep going through the plot. Then we'll talk about ideologies and stuff.
Okay.
So basically, after that, they all get together. Thaddeus Ross basically tells them, you got to sign these accords or you retire. And Vision, Iron Man, and War Machine all sign. At the time of them debating, basically, Captain America gets a text message from Sharon Carter that says Peggy Carter has just passed away. So he and Falcon go to the funeral. And at the funeral, they leave without signing the accords. And at the funeral, they literally say, there's a great speech. And actually, Tara of What the Fuck Is Wrong With You brought this up to me via PM in the chat. Now, in the comics, there's a famous scene where Captain America is talking about, the conviction. And he says, when someone tells you that you can't do something, you stand your ground like a tree. And if they tell you to move, you say, no, you move. And what I really liked about it was that it really informed me of Sharon Carter's character, because Captain America did not say this in this universe. It was Peggy Carter who said it, which, number one, is really great for feminism. Number two...
Well, could you say that, though? Because she ends up kind of being the fridged chick. What is it they say? The woman in the fridge? Because her death is what inspires him.
Well, here's the thing, though. Remember, when he got unfrozen and he found out that she was still alive, he went to go visit her.
He was the guy in the fridge.
So, basically, but what I really liked about this was not only did they inform us of who Sharon Carter actually is, but also they also informed us that Peggy Carter, believed that, firm convictions are important.
But you know what
So that kind of inspires Captain America. And, after this happens, we'll get to the UN. What's up?
But you know what I found interesting about that is that seeing her saying that with such conviction, I saw Captain America taking those words and being like, that's right, I should be true to what I want. But then I thought about, from Iron Man's perspective, if he was there for that, it's like, he would totally be like, no, it's about compromise in this world, and you can't just do exactly whatever you want. So, like, I could see that as the good guy's speech and the villain speech if they framed it, if the movie was framed a certain way. You know what I mean?
It wasn't framed that way.
I know, but I just the way I was thinking, I was just like, because that's what the villains do. Villains are staunchly in their, the way they feel, and they will not be changed, and it will be their way come hook or crook. You know what I mean? And so it's just like where that could be inspiring for good, it could also be inspiring for evil. And like just for me, that's what I took away from it, and it made it more dynamic.
I didn't take away that. I took away that it was actually really good for Peggy Carter's character.
For me, it just made the scene more dynamic. You know what I mean? Because he's inspired by this person who died, but like Iron Man would be like, you know, we still have to do.
Fucking Iron Man wasn't there anyway. Yeah. So. Then we get to the UN, and basically the bomb goes off, and it's reported that the Winter Soldier is seen near the van. So Black Panther, who has just lost his father and became the king of Wakanda, basically tells Black Widow, fuck you, lady, I'm going to go kill this motherfucker. And Cap calls Black Widow and goes, yo, you okay? And she's like, yo, stay home. And he's like, yeah, not gonna happen. So he goes off with Falcon to go get Bucky in Bucharest.
I will kill him myself.
Yeah, I will kill him myself.
Fucking Black Panther.
So Black Panther shows up, and there's a giant fight between all of them, and it ends with... Excuse me.
The way he fucking...
It ends... Okay, now this car chase scene is amazeballs.
Yeah.
And I loved every second of it. It's beautiful.
Oh my god.
It's great.
It's fantastic.
But at the very end of the fight scene, at the very end of the chase scene, you know, everybody... War Machine comes in with the police and, you know, turns his guns on everybody. And Black Panther's like, fuck this noise, I got diplomatic immunity. And he takes off his helmet and everybody's like, oh shit. And then
you can't kill him.
Yeah, you can't kill the king of Wakanda. That's a bad idea. So he, you know, they train all their guns over there. And they're like, oh shit, like we're not supposed to, you know. But which really says a lot about diplomatic immunity in the Marvel Universe. Basically, if you're the king of a country... including a fictional one, you basically can do whatever the fuck you want. Dude, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, if the president of the United States was like running around
in
superhero garb, they're not gonna shoot Barack Obama. They're gonna be like, oh shit, I want no problems.
They might shoot him if he doesn't show his face.
Yeah, that's why he had to take it off. But dude, I just love the way fucking he talks, right?
Oh my god, and I really like that he's a man of few words, but when he says shit, it's really fucking important.
Like, just like the way he says it, I don't know what.
Well,
he's just like,
in the car.
Cop done. You know, he's talking
they're in the car.
Cop done.
They're in the car on their way to Berlin, and basically, you know, Sam goes, you don't want to find out about it, the guy in the cat suit, blah, 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 and Captain America's like, you know, that's not polite, and you know, the king of Wakanda literally looks at them and says, how long do you think you can keep him safe from me? Because as a king and as the Black Panther, I'm gonna fucking kill him.
Anyways, it's just like, holy shit.
And I'm like, okay, number one, I understand, like, your grief because of your dad, and I get that shit. But number two, you're talking to Captain fucking America.
Okay. And when he has that fight scene with Hawkeye, where he's just like, Hawkeye's trying to be, like, all joking and being like, I don't think we've met. It's like, I'm Hawkeye. And he just goes, I don't care.
Yeah, and he starts punching him. It's great.
It's like, oh shit. No fucking witty banter over here. He's fucking your shit up.
So they get to Berlin, and they encase Bucky in, like, this, you know, Zero facility. Martin Freeman is the director of the Counter-Terrorist Task Force. One thing I forgot to mention is Jim Rash, who, if you don't know, is the dean from Community. He's the faculty member that basically asks Tony Stark if you know, money will go to faculty as well as the students.
That's
which is classic Dean in my opinion. Anyway, so you know, Captain America is basically pressured by Tony Stark to sign these accords, and he's like, fuck that, because he finds out, and it looks like he's about to sign, because he's like, okay, you know what, this makes a lot of sense, that, you know, I understand you want to keep everybody together, but then Tony fucking blows it and says, you know, and Scarlet Witch has been, you know, at the compound, and he's like, wait a minute, what have you done? And he's like, well, we're keeping her safe.
Oh yeah, like the you see the sort of seeds of the paternal sort of like, well, I did this for your own good.
Yeah,
and it's like, whoa, who do you
Captain
presume?
America, Captain America is 100 fucking years old. He doesn't give a fuck. He basically tells Tony to go fuck himself. And because, number one, you don't imprison your own teammates. And number two...
That's basically what they did.
Yeah, and number two, it doesn't fucking matter what she did. She knows that it was wrong. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, the idea is that they wanted to keep her there so that she wouldn't, so that people wouldn't go on a witch hunt, basically. But the problem is...
Which is really funny because she would be able to kill all of them.
But the problem is... They didn't ask for her consent.
Yeah,
it was just Vision just sprung it up on her. Oh, by the way, yeah, you totally shouldn't.
At this point in time, like, you know, Vision is trying to make something to help Scarlet Witch, you know, get over her captivity, and she finds out that she's being kept there against her own will.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's like, but at the same time, she's like, she's very conflicted, she's very confused, and she's not gonna fight Vision because she's like, okay, you know what? I'm really conflicted and confused about this. I'm not going to be angry about it, but at the same time, like, fucking Tony Stark, man. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, she understands why she's being kept there, and she understands that, you know, she is a dangerous human being, but at the same time, she's not really, you know, she's not really 100% why she can't just sign the Sokovian Accords and be done with it.
And also, like I said, just the idea that they decided. Iron Man decided for her.
Yeah, they decided. She was decided for. It was decided for her. She never had a say in what she had.
And that was the thing that sort of.
And the thing that Iron Man brings up is like, oh well, you know, she's not a United States citizen, and Captain America's like, okay, that doesn't matter. Like, what the fuck? And you know, so Captain America and Falcon have all had their weapons taken away, and you know, they So they basically say, fuck it, whatever, alright. So, they all meet, so basically Thunderbolt Ross goes, alright, you know, Bucky breaks out because, Helmut Zemo, the guy who's been plotting because of Sokovia.
Yeah.
He lost everyone at Sokovia, we find out later, that, he gets the Winter Soldier to break out, by controlling him by the words of the Winter Soldier. And, you know, Cap and Sam disappear along with him and blah, blah, blah. Tony Stark gets 36 hours to bring these motherfuckers back in. So then we get the big showdown.
The airplane scene. I mean, the airport scene.
Yeah, the airport scene.
Shit is so fucking epic.
Before that happens, though, Black Widow goes to go get Black Panther. And Tony Stark happens to stop in Queens to go get Spider-Man. So, Spider-Man is very well done.
He's great. I thought I wasn't going to like him, but I really did.
I mean, he was a little bit weird during the fight scene.
No, I thought it was great, because he's like the youngest one there. He's like fucking 15, so of course he's going to be like, oh my god, this is so cool. So, guys, like, he's always wanting to talk to people, and everyone's like, shut the fuck up and fight.
Yeah, and I liked that, but it started to grate on me a little bit towards the end of the fight.
I liked him. He was fun.
I mean, I didn't think he was a terrible Spider-Man. I think he was actually one of the best Spider-Mans I've ever seen.
He was the kid's
point of view. I know.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh my god,
he was supposed to be the kid that was relatable. So this big ass fight scene goes down. It's Iron Man, Vision, Iron Man, Vision, War Machine, Black Panther, Black Widow, and Spider-Man versus Captain America, Falcon, Hawkeye, Bucky. Scarlet Witch, and Bucky, and
Ant-Man.
And Ant-Man. And they just let loose. It is so cathartic as a fight. You know, Ant-Man is running around as Ant-Man. He's also running
really
around
inventive.
He becomes Giant Man, which is fantastic.
Also, can I say this? What the fuck was it? Okay, I want to talk about Vision.
Oh, okay. So, at the beginning of the fight, Vision is not there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you see his yellow beam of light, and he stops Captain America, basically. And he's like, you know, this is not a really good idea. And after that, like, they have the big giant fight, like, thing where both groups go towards each other, and Vision kind of disappears for a little while.
Yeah, it's like, the last thing you see is he gets hit with an arrow, and then nothing. And I thought it was going to be at least like, oh, Scarlet Witch and Vision are going to have like maybe a show. Because they did a good like sort of pairing where it was like Hawkeye versus
Black Widow. Tony, Black Panther versus the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Tony was fighting Falcon, I want to say.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and then Captain America was fighting
War Machine?
War Machine, I think.
Yeah.
I might have switched those. I'm not really sure.
But it was a good pairing, and then like the whole time I'm thinking, where the fuck is Vision? Why isn't he stopping anyone?
Yeah, and meanwhile Scarlet Witch is running around and like telling Hawkeye,
throwing buses and shit.
Telling Hawkeye that he's throwing his punches. Saving Winter Soldier from Black Panther. All these other nonsense, and Vision doesn't really show up until after the big fight is pretty much like...
Well, he gets Giant...
After Giant Man basically happens, he goes through Giant Man, and, then he starts doing shit. But until that point, it's like, okay, where the hell is he? Yeah. But I realize why they did that. He's
too fucking powerful.
Yeah, he's too powerful. Literally, he is the Hulk of this movie. If anyone tried to fuck with him, he would basically kill them.
But it was annoying because now, it like, the whole time I'm just thinking, he could do something about this and he doesn't. So it felt like if you're going to have him,
well, remember he's an artificial intelligence.
I know, but if he's too strong for that scene, find a way to get him out of it. Don't be like, but he's going to be there, but he's not really going to do anything.
Remember the reason why he's there. After the fight kind of breaks up and Captain America takes off with Winter Soldier, Iron Man, Falcon, and War Machine all go after the plane, and meanwhile Vision is on the ground because War Machine had done something to the Scarlet Witch, and he's like trying to take care of her. He gets a little distracted, and you start seeing the seeds of their relationship start to develop. Because in the comics, Vision and Scarlet Witch, were together. So you get to see these little seeds, which I liked. It was really nice.
It would be nice if in the scene they showed. Like, in the fight scene, they showed his indecision at some point.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
But they don't. It just feels like, where the fuck is he?
Yeah, I understand why they didn't. But, so basically, War Machine goes, hey, I got a bird on my tail. Can you, like, take care of this, Vision? And Vision shoots his beam of light or whatever. But Falcon avoids it, and it hits War Machine. And War Machine goes down.
It's a gut
wrenching. It's gut wrenching.
And then you see them trying to get him. Yeah,
you see him. You see both Falcon and Iron Man trying to save him.
Let them watch the movie.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, instead of following Captain America and Winter Soldier, they both turn around to see if he's okay.
Yeah, and that's what I like. It shows that they both.
Yeah, they both genuinely care about Rhodey, even though they're on different teams.
Yeah.
So anyway, Captain America and Bucky get to the Siberian place. Blah blah blah. And in the meantime, the Avengers that were on Captain America's side are imprisoned. And Iron Man finds out that Helmut Zemo is the problem, and it wasn't Bucky. So he goes after them, along with Black Panther, who's been following Tony Stark this whole time. And the only thing that really dragged for me was, I wish they would have shown just Helmut Zemo opening the thing and not lingering on it. Like, if they had just shown the place in Siberia, then
there was no need for them to go to the hotel every time. And yeah, you're right.
And they would just flash to that.
It's like, because you get it.
Yeah, like, and even when Tony Stark is looking at this, like, they show the picture of the guy in the hotel who had been murdered anyway. So it's like, okay, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Whatever. It was like the only nitpick I had, but it was only a nitpick. So Iron Man comes to Captain America and Winter Soldier, and they kind of make a truce of some kind to face down Helmut Zemo. Yeah.
But there's no big fight scene with Helmut Zemo.
Yeah, there's not. So they all get into this room. They find out that the other Winter Soldiers are dead now, and that Bucky.
They find out what exactly happened in 1991.
Yeah, they find out exactly what happened in 1991.
We find out that someone knew that.
Yeah, we find out. Well, remember, these are spoilers.
Yeah.
So we find out that Do you
want to say it though?
I do. I won't say what happens.
Okay.
I'll just say that Cap knew about it.
Yeah.
Iron Man gets super pissed and starts beating the shit out of both of them. And then, you know, it ends with what I like is they go all around the facility,
and oh my god, it's gut wrenching after a certain point.
It is because you realize at the start of the fight that Captain America, and this is why I'm Team Cap. Captain America is not fighting to kill Tony Stark.
Yeah,
he is literally every time he fights with Iron Man, he is literally just trying to disarm him. He disarms his boot so he can't fly.
That's true.
He does like all these different things so he can't do shit to Bucky.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Iron Man is literally trying to kill both of them.
Yeah.
And he, you know, and Captain America basically tells him, you know, he was brainwashed, and, you know, Iron Man goes, I don't care, he killed my mom.
Yeah.
And that was at the point where I was like, okay, like, how can anyone like Iron Man at this point? Like, he really...
No! How can you... Like,
well,
you know what it is? You know what it is? That's where the plot is so genius, because earlier when you see the mom, and she's like, she's like all angry at him, it's like, how dare you do this, da-da-da. And then when you see the inverse, you see it flip. You see Iron Man with the knowledge of this woman lost her son. This son lost his mother. And so that, like, that's the plot. And I think that's genius.
But at the same time, Iron Man also knows that Bucky has been brainwashed.
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, I'm like, okay, you fucking know that this was probably during a brainwashing, like, you idiot.
Yeah, I thought about that. Like, at first I was angry about that. I was angry that Iron Man was acting that way, but then when it came to when I considered the bigger plot thread of people seeking revenge based on visceral things and how that affects Black Panther, how that affects, you know, Iron Man, how that affects the people.
While this is happening, Black Panther has by this point heard that Zemo was responsible for the UN bombing that killed his dad.
Yeah.
And he goes to confront Zemo, and Zemo basically, you know, explains to him what happened in Sokovia, how he lost everyone.
And it's genius how that, like, they take a small, like, where in a lot of movies, if you saw something like that where they took, like, some random, like in fucking the Pirates of the Caribbean movie, how they'll take little disparate parts of the movie and try to make another movie out of it. This one actually feels like it's a legit thing. Like, someone could actually do that. Seek revenge based on, you know, the collateral damage. The biggest thing being, afterwards, like, they keep bringing up this point. It says, after you guys, you know, destroyed our village, you just left.
Yeah, you just went home.
Yeah, and it was like, oh my god.
And Black Panther's like, okay, whatever. And but he realizes, you know,
the living still need you.
Yeah, the living still need you. He saves
the living
Zemo.
aren't done with you.
He saves Zemo from suicide. He realizes that Iron Man and Captain America are consumed by vengeance, that Zemo was consumed by vengeance, and he's like, I'm not going to allow myself to be consumed by vengeance anymore. It
was great. I love how he was used for that.
And that was the end of his character arc, and it was like fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
So anyway, then, so finally, it gets to the point where Winter Soldier's arm is blown off, and Iron Man basically tries to kill him, and Captain America, he takes Captain America's shield away, throws it, shoots him in the stomach, which I gasped. I saw it twice, and I still was not prepared for it.
I was like,
oh shit!
Straight up, that fight scene had me going like, "What happened to my boys?" Like,
I was really
it's not
sad.
supposed to be this way.
So then Captain America gets up, and as a throwback to the first Avenger movie, he goes, "I can do this all day." You know, as a throwback to when he was a tiny, scrawny little bitch.
Yeah.
And he was fighting bullies in an alleyway.
Oh my god.
So that was a great callback.
When you get that point where where he could kill him.
Oh yeah, and then so Iron Man's about to kill Bucky, and Captain America's like, okay, I've had enough of this shit. He beats the fuck out of Iron Man, takes his fucking helmet off, and instead of killing him, which is what Iron Man would do, he implants the shield into his Iron Man suit so it no longer works, right in the center of his chest where his beam of light is, puts it in there, and then he just fucking leaves it there. And then he takes it out to pick it up to leave with Bucky, and Iron Man's like, that shield's not yours. It belongs to Howard Stark. So he drops it. He's like, okay, motherfucker, I really don't care at this point.
Yeah.
And he leaves. And presumably, at that point, he leaves with Black Panther because of the secret ending. After the credits, I'm not going to tell you the secret ending, but I will tell you that there's a scene with...
don't say
spoilers. There's a scene with Captain America and Black Panther in Wakanda. I'm not going to tell you why they're there, but I will tell you, they have a conversation of, if Ross finds out that you're housing us, like, what the fuck are you supposed to do? Because by this point, at the end of the film, he sends something to Iron Man telling him, he's sorry for what happened and all this other nonsense, and he goes to the raft to go rescue the other Avengers from the raft, and Ross calls him and goes, there's been a breach of the raft, and Tony Stark's like, that's nice, I'm putting you on hold now.
There's still that sort of mutual respect in a way.
Yeah, it's
even though they're on opposite
thing.
sides, it's like, how could this develop? Because, a lot of the movies so far, it's been, that people have complained, it's like, oh, it's just this simple bad guy, and they have to fight the bad guy, and you know who the good guy's been. I like how this switches it up, you know what I mean?
And so they're talking about it, and Black Panther goes, let them try, and then it flashes over to the Wakandan Black Panther, which... earlier in the movie, he says, has been guarding Wakanda for generations. So, all in all, this movie was fantastic. I will say that the other thing that I liked about this movie was the Stan Lee cameo. Because
no, don't give that away.
No. I will say that I had forgotten that he was supposed to have one.
It's so epic.
You literally go, oh shit, what is he doing
Oh,
here?
yeah, right. And that, can we just say real quick, that helicopter scene?
Oh my god, where
he flexing on him?
Flexing those muscles.
And I was like, yo, it's like you could hear a visible gasp from all of the females in the audience. I was like, yo, when he did this shit, the panties dropped.
That's true.
He was like,
I will say that one of the things that I really liked about this movie is the ideological differences between Iron Man and Captain America.
It's not just because of people's fucking mother's first names and shit.
Unlike Batman v Superman, which was bullshit in the first place,
wow,
this movie literally took other movies to build up its psychological profile in order to defend everything. So, Iron Man is feeling some type of way about how he basically killed a bunch of people because Ultron was his fault. Meanwhile,
totally his fault.
Captain America is well aware that he dismantled S.H.I.E.L.D. and that was all him. He understands. So both of these heroes are at fault. No one is 100% right. And the line is not black and white. It is very, very gray.
Because like I said, when they had S.H.I.E.L.D., S.H.I.E.L.D. turned out to be something that had been compromised a long time ago.
Right.
And so okay, now they have precedent for this organization that worked outside of the law ended up being corrupt. So now we can't trust you. It's I love how it's built up like that.
And now here's where I think they're going to go from this. Now, we're going to have Doctor Strange and then Infinity War. I know it's been renamed, but I'm just going to call it Infinity War Part 1 because we don't know what the new name is.
Oh, they're totally going to do 2 parts.
They are. But the Russo brothers has said that they're renaming the 2 parts. It's not going to be Infinity War Part 1 and 2. It's going to be 2 different titles.
I guess you already had Civil War. You don't want to have Infinity War.
Yeah, but basically, where I think this is going to go from here is literally, and this is just speculation, I think that when Thanos comes to town, Thor is going to come by and say, yo, we need some shit, we need some firepower. Let's do this shit, And they're going to have to reunite in order to face down Thanos. Because I gotta say, as much as I think Black Panther is the coolest dude in this movie, I don't think he can take on Thanos by himself, to be honest with you.
Can I just say this completely insignificant point?
Sure.
What the fuck was up with Spider-Man's aunt?
Marissa Tomei?
Yeah, she's 30 and shit. Spider-Man's aunt seems to be getting younger and fucking younger and shit.
That was pointed out online. It was weird.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is going on with his eye?
Yeah, I don't know.
It looks like it's either like his young mom or like his, slightly older girlfriend or some shit. And the way Iron Man was like treating her like he totally just banged her before Spider-Man got there. Like, I was just like, what the fuck is going on? It's such an awkward scene. But overall,
it is pretty awkward. But I mean, like, for the most part, like, I can forgive, like, the little things. Like,
I know, I just wanted
like the flashback to the hotels thing. I can forgive the whole awkwardness with Spider-Man because this movie was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, it was great. Blue Batman versus Superman out of the water as expected.
Oh my god! Yeah. Note to Zack Snyder. That's how you do a superhero movie.
Yeah.
With hero versus hero.
We needed the yin and yang. We needed to hear the yin after fucking Batman v Superman's yang. Like, wow, we needed this balance in the universe.
Yeah.
Fuck,
so
that's how you integrate characters. That's how you make a plot. That's how you have characters with differing ideals. That's how you do that shit.
So in a few weeks, we're going to be seeing X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah, looks kind of promising.
It's going to be interesting.
Everything's going to be a kind of step down from Civil War, though.
every franchise basically put out a movie within the last 2 months. Basically, you have Marvel put out one, DC put one out, and now Fox is going to put out their version of their Civil War.
Yeah,
because technically it's mutants fighting other mutants.
All the thread of all of these superhero movies
and
for this year is
that
all
these super villains are gonna get together and go, yeah, we can totally do this.
Mm-hmm. So like before it was just having superheroes, now it's facing each other. And what's the next plot thread gonna be?
Super villains are fine.
Yeah, what's interesting is that like Infinity War has to step up the game.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like
they
can't go back to just being a good guy versus the bad guy.
Well, I think that because Marvel knows exactly what Thanos represents, I really think that they're going to step up their game. Because remember, the directors of this movie, the Russos, directed all the Captain America movies, and they're going to be directing Infinity War. So they already know what they're getting into and what they're doing.
Well, to wrap it up.
Yeah. So out of 10, I would say, because I have to rate movies on a scale of 10. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I can't do 5. That's weird. Otherwise, it'd be a decimal point, and I'm very bad with math. I would say 9.75 out of 10.
Oh, gee, you don't like decimal points? You say
shut the fuck up.
Wait, no, what'd you say?
9.75. And the reason I say the 9.75 is because it is not a perfect movie, but it's goddamn close.
Yeah,
it is so close.
I'd actually give the exact same rating. Yeah, it really is. You will enjoy it. Any of the flaws that really happen,
they're overstepped by superheroes beating the fuck out of each other.
If you even notice them in the first place, like everything builds up perfectly.
The first time I went to the movie, I went as a fan. The second time I went to the movie, I went as a critic.
Yeah.
So. That's the only reason I saw those flaws the second time. If I had gone just as a fan, I probably wouldn't even have noticed.
It really does feel like I was just thinking about it.
And it didn't even feel like 2.5 hours.
No,
it felt like maybe an hour and a half.
And the movie the movie really does feel like a fucking symphony. Like it's like the way it builds and then has and everything is meaningful and leads up to the point, except for the hotel scene.
In terms of time, this is the last thing I'll say before I get into like other news. In terms of time, this really reads like the first Avengers movie in terms of all this crazy shit happens, but it doesn't feel like all this time's passed.
Yeah, you never get the point of come on, let's move on.
Yeah, it's very very well paced and it's phenomenal and I love it. So next time you see us, we're gonna be doing X-Men Apocalypse. Mm-hmm. And then in August we're gonna be doing Suicide Squad. But before that. After X-Men Apocalypse, you will be seeing probably I want to say Flash Season 1 or Arrow Season 2 from me for Superhero Rundown. And at the end, you guys are getting a Christmas treat because I'm doing Supergirl. I have not seen anything of Supergirl yet, so I'm really super excited about this. Ha, Supergirl. Anyway, so I'm Jess.
And I'm yawning.
And we will see you for X-Men Apocalypse, or as I like to call it, X-Men Ivan Ooze.
What? Why X-Men Ivan? Oh, because he looks like...